The All England Club. The grass is pristine. The white dress code is strictly enforced. The world's best players are descending upon London, each with their own dreams of lifting the most prestigious trophy in tennis. But this year, something is different. Something has shifted. Something that has left the tennis establishment utterly bewildered. The woman who was supposed to own the headlines is stumbling. The woman who was supposed to be the overwhelming favorite is crumbling under the weight of her own expectations. And a 21-year-old from a country that has never produced a tennis star is stealing the spotlight, Aryna Sabalenka. The world number one. The four-time Grand Slam champion. The player who has spent 95 weeks atop the women's game. The player who was expected to finally conquer Wimbledon, the one major title that has eluded her for years. 3 semifinals in her last 3 appearances. This was supposed to be her coronation, but something has gone terribly wrong. Sabalenka arrives at Wimbledon in the worst form of her career. She has lost deciding sets 6-0 in 2 consecutive tournaments, a historic low that no world number one has suffered since the WTA began keeping records in 1975. Meanwhile, a new star has emerged. A player who, just over a year ago, was ranked outside the top 100. A player who was written off, overlooked, and doubted at every turn. A player who has now done what no Filipino has ever done before, secured a singles seed at Wimbledon. Alexandra Eala, the numbers don't lie. Her pre-tournament press conference at the Australian Open was watched by 171,000 people, more than 6 times the combined audience for Carlos Alcaraz and Coco Gauff. Former pros have declared her the biggest draw in women's tennis, bigger than Sabalenka. Tournament directors are desperate to have her. Her matches sell out arenas before she even steps onto the court. The world number one is in crisis. The Filipina sensation is on the rise. And the tennis world is asking a question that would have seemed unthinkable just months ago. Is Alexandra Eala stealing the Wimbledon headlines that Aryna Sabalenka was supposed to get? Let's begin. While Sabalenka is crumbling, Alexandra Eala is soaring to heights no Filipino tennis player has ever reached. Just over a year ago, Eala was an unknown wildcard who had shocked the tennis world at the Miami Open. But 2026 has been different. This has been the year she proved that her breakthrough was no fluke. She opened the grass season by winning her second WTA singles crown at the Birmingham Open. She then arrived at the Berlin Open as a wildcard debutant and proceeded to do the unthinkable. She started by defeating Donna Vekic, a player who had just won the biggest title of her career at Queen's Club. Then came the upset of the tournament. She stunned world number 2 Elena Rybakina, the reigning Australian Open champion, coming from 4-1 down in the first set to win 7-5, 6-4. She followed that by dismantling world number 8 Elina Svitolina, 6-3, 6-4. 2 top 10 wins in a single week. 3 top 20 victories in 4 days. All in straight sets. The run earned her 195 ranking points and pushed her 5 spots up the rankings to world number 30. She had become the first Filipino in history to earn a singles seed at a Grand Slam tournament. She was seeded number 29 at Wimbledon. "I'm a little foggy right now," Eala said after her Berlin run. "I'm still shaking." The tennis world was stunned. Not just by the victories, but by the way she carried herself. The humility. The grace. The reminder that behind the rankings, behind the headlines, there is a young woman still processing the magnitude of what she has achieved. As a seeded player, Eala will avoid facing top seeds until at least the 3rd round. She will draw unseeded players or qualifiers in her first 2 rounds, offering protection from an early showdown against heavyweight opponents. This is a massive strategic advantage for the 21-year-old. Eala is no longer just a promising prospect. She is a seeded contender at the most prestigious tournament in tennis. She is the first Filipino woman to walk onto the grass of Wimbledon, with a protected placement in the draw, and the world is watching. To understand why the spotlight has shifted, you have to understand what is happening to Aryna Sabalenka. She is the world number 1. She is a 4-time Grand Slam champion. She has reached 3 Wimbledon semifinals in her last 3 appearances. On paper, she is the overwhelming favorite, but tennis is not played on paper. Sabalenka arrives at Wimbledon in her worst form in years. She has not won a tournament since March. She suffered a shocking defeat at the French Open, losing to Diana Schneider after holding a commanding lead, a match so devastating that she said afterward, "No thoughts, no emotions. Just want to quit tennis right now." She then crashed out of the Berlin Open semifinals, losing to Jessica Pegula 6-4, 6-7-4, 6-0. The numbers are alarming. She has lost deciding sets 6-0 in back-to-back tournaments, a first for any sitting world number 1 since the WTA began keeping records in 1975. She is 1-4 against top 10 players at Wimbledon. She has never reached the final at the All England Club. Even Sabalenka herself seems uncertain. "I feel like I need to figure out what's happening sometimes in those matches to move on and to avoid these situations happening," she said after her Berlin collapse. "The pressure is mounting. The doubts are creeping in. And the Queen's throne is looking less secure than ever before." The Italian newspaper, Gazzetta dello Sport, called it a crisis, and noted that Sabalenka skipped the post-match press conference after her latest defeat. The Swedish outlet SVT described it as historically poor form. Earlier in the week, Sabalenka had opened her grass campaign with these words, referring to her shocking Roland Garros loss. "That was a very hard defeat to digest, because I realized I had missed a big opportunity. I thought a lot about that match and I needed time to recover. So after Paris I went to a psychologist. I needed help not to remain a prisoner of that match. It helped me a lot. Now, she needs new certainties. And Wimbledon is just days away. The world number 1 is in trouble. And the tennis world is taking notice. The numbers don't lie." Alexandra Eala has become the biggest draw in women's tennis. Former pros have taken notice. On the Nothing Major podcast, Sam Querrey posed a question that would have sounded unthinkable a year ago. Is Eala the biggest draw in women's tennis right now? Steve Johnson's answer was blunt. Yes. Bigger than Coco Gauff. Bigger than Aryna Sabalenka. The comparison isn't about results. It's about pull. Tournament insiders describe a familiar pattern. Eala is assigned an outside court early in the week, ticket demand surges, and by match day the venue is standing room only. By the next round, she's moved to a show court. The same thing happened at the Australian Open, where queues formed outside the grounds during her opening round match. The numbers back up the claims. Eala's pre-tournament press conference at the Australian Open was watched online by 171,000 people, dwarfing those of Alcaraz, Gauff, both 29,000, and Sabalenka, 9,000. She has sold out arenas across 6 tournaments this year. She has driven a 48% jump in ticket sales at the Dubai Duty-Free Tennis Championships. She helped set a new Australian Open attendance record. Tennis legend Martina Navratilova has urged tournament organisers to assign Eala to larger courts whenever possible. Novak Djokovic has called the attention she draws a good problem for the sport. Even world number 4 Coco Gauff acknowledged Eala's massive fanbase, saying, "She has a huge fanbase. She actually would be number 1 probably." The Eala effect is no longer a novelty. It is a movement. A player ranked outside the top 30 has become the hottest ticket in tennis, and Wimbledon is about to feel the full force of it. "I can't wait to see what it's going to be like in her opening match at Wimbledon this year," former British number 1 Greg Rusedski said. The spotlight, that was supposed to be fixed on Sabalenka, has shifted. It now shines on both players. But for very different reasons. Sabalenka is under pressure to deliver. She is expected to win. Anything less will be seen as a failure. Eala is playing with freedom. She has already exceeded expectations. Every victory is a bonus. Every round is history. The Wimbledon draw has set the stage for a fascinating contrast in narratives. Sabalenka is the #1 seed. She is expected to go deep. She is expected to challenge for the title. She is expected to finally conquer the one Grand Slam that has eluded her, but her form is shaky. Her confidence is wavering. And the pressure is immense. Eala is the #29 seed. She will draw unseeded players or qualifiers in her first 2 rounds. She is entering Wimbledon with a career-high ranking and the wind at her back. The contrast could not be more stark. Sabalenka is playing to defend her ranking and silence the doubters. Eala is playing with house money, with nothing to lose and everything to gain. Even Eala's recent setback in Bad Homburg, a 3-6 loss to Elise Mertens, has not dimmed the excitement. The defeat may have dampened her momentum, but it did not erase the gains. She made a bright start, racing to a 3-1 lead, before the Belgian veteran adjusted and took control. The defeat, according to some analysts, could actually be a blessing in disguise ahead of Wimbledon, giving Eala much-needed rest before the Grand Slam. Eala still has an opportunity to regain confidence in doubles, where she is partnered with tennis icon Venus Williams. The duo will take on Catherine Harrison and Alexandra Osborne in the opening round. The tennis world is divided. Some believe Sabalenka's experience will carry her through. Others believe Eala's momentum and fearlessness make her a genuine threat, but one thing is certain. The conversation has shifted. Wimbledon fans can't stop talking about Alex Eala, and they are asking, is she stealing the headlines that Sabalenka was supposed to get? The question is no longer whether Alexandra Eala has arrived. The question is how far she can go. Sabalenka's path to Wimbledon glory is fraught with danger. She is defending semi-final points from last year. She has not won a tournament since March. She has suffered back-to-back 6-0 losses. The doubts are growing louder. Eala's path is one of opportunity. She has already made history by becoming the first-seeded Filipina at a Grand Slam. She has proven she can beat the best players in the world. She has the support of millions behind her. The spotlight that was supposed to be fixed on Sabalenka has shifted. It now shines on both players. But for very different reasons. Sabalenka is under pressure to deliver. She is expected to win. Anything less will be seen as a failure. Eala is playing with freedom. She has already exceeded expectations. Every victory is a bonus. Every round is history. Wimbledon runs from June 29 to July 12. The official draw is set for this weekend. And Eala will be there, seated 29th, ready to make history once again. The tennis world is watching. The fans are divided. The debate is raging. Is Alexandra Eala stealing the Wimbledon headlines that Aryna Sabalenka was supposed to get? The answer will be decided on the grass of the All England Club. Eala can't PE line ad Kana high etc. And that, my friends, is how a 21-year-old from Quezon City has done what no one thought possible. She has captured the Wimbledon spotlight, while the world #1 crumbles under pressure. Aryna Sabalenka, the 4-time Grand Slam champion. The player who was expected to finally conquer Wimbledon. But this year is different. The spotlight has shifted. The narratives are colliding. And Alexandra Eala is right in the middle of it all. This is the rise of a phenomenon. This is the rewriting of tennis history. And trust me, this is only the beginning.